I am a Reform rabbi. I was brought up in Jamaica, Queens. I went to the Yeshiva Central Queens, if those of you might know where that is. I was physically abused and beat up pretty bad. I moved on to the conservative movement. I lived in Hollis Hills, was bar mitzvah at the Hollis Hills Jewish Center, and then moved on. I kept on moving left to the Reform movement, where I eventually was ordained at the Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati, Ohio, for those of you who might not know that. I am the only Reform rabbi out of 1,500 to stand up before you and to vocally support the President of the United States. Now, I'll tell you something. I signed up for liberal Judaism because I'm a liberal Jew, I'm a Reform Jew, but I did not sign up for liberal politics. And the problem today is that they're mixed together. You join a liberal synagogue and you hear the rabbi speak about liberal politics and you walk out. That's not the way I grew up, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. And that's why I left. I really couldn't take it anymore. 2 years ago, I'll tell you what happened. 2 years ago, the president called the Jewish community organizations, all the rabbis, as was traditional. Obama did it, Bush did it, and it was nothing but L'Shana Tova Tikkatevu, Happy New Year, Happy Jewish New Year, Sweet New Year, all of that. The Reform, the Conservative, the Reconstructionist movements refused to take his call. I thought that was the biggest insult that I've ever heard. That bothered me so much that I called up the executive director. I said, "What gives here?" He says, "You know, you're the only rabbi of the 1,500 who called to complain." I said, "You got to be kidding me." And from that point alone, I was a loner in the Reform movement. 2 years later, they changed their policy, but they never offered the president an apology, which I felt really was needed. After that, the Reform movement put out a press release criticizing the president's leadership. I resigned at that point. I said I couldn't take it anymore. But the problem is they had my pension funds there. So I had a little problem, but I figure I'll try to work that out. They also published a position opposing the president's decision that the settlements were not illegal. And the reason that the Reform movement did that is because they still have the hope of a two-state solution. That two-state solution is dead. And look, the Palestinians have had many opportunities to make peace with Israel, to get almost everything they wanted, which they constantly rejected. And what it is, it's not a land dispute. It's a dispute of ideology and religion. It is a religious war. What they really want is the Israelis out of Israel. That's what they want. That's what they want. And unless we figure this out politically, it's going to be the same thing just all over again. The Democrats, don't boo. No, I want, you don't, no. No, you don't have to boo. Please don't. First of all, they don't speak up for Israel. They don't speak up for Israel. My good friend, Lois Frankel, she's a friend of mine. Don't boo, no. She's a wonderful human being. I'm telling you she is. You don't know her like I do. Okay. I've worked with her for a long time, but I'm disappointed in her. I'm disappointed. You know, you can love somebody, but you can be disappointed in them too, right? Anybody married here? Well, you get what I mean, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm disappointed. Basically, the two representatives, Deutsch, and they're basically Pelosi's puppets. That's what I call them, Pelosi's puppets. But do you know that among Orthodox Jews, the president is supported 70%? 70% of Orthodox Jews support the president. And that's why they're invited to his Hanukkah parties. And I doubt that I, as the sole Reform rabbi, liberal rabbi who supported, will ever get an invitation. But if you ever see a picture of everybody with somebody without a black hat, it's going to be me. Okay? But we'll see. We'll see. Immigration. You know, we are all from somewhere else. We are all from somewhere else. But what did our ancestors want? What did they want to do? They wanted to become Americans. They wanted to assimilate. They wanted to leave behind the old country. And if you didn't leave behind the old country, what do you think they called you? A greenhorn. Anybody ever hear that before? A greenhorn. My father used to tell me, I don't want to be a greenhorn. As quickly as he wanted to be an American. That's what the immigrants, that's what it really means to be, for me, to be an American. They joined the military. Even Holocaust survivors joined the military. Did you know that? They were saved, they came here, they joined the military, and they sent them back to Germany. They did. Many of them went there. Amazing, just amazing. They wanted to be Americans so bad. But today, unfortunately, young people look down on their peers who joined the military. The military is not the place to be today. And if you're on a college campus and that's it, you're going to have a problem. Many new immigrants do not want to assimilate. It's not that we don't want the immigrants, it's that they don't want to become part of us. They want to destroy the freedoms that we have. They want to dearly, that we fought for and that we sacrificed for. They reject our values, they reject our culture. They want to replace what we have with what they have. That's not what we want. That is not what we want. It is my strong belief that everybody who reaches the age of 18 should serve 2 years of national service sometime. Now, I don't care if they join the military. I joined the military. I'm 26 years and a lieutenant colonel and a Desert Storm veteran. They don't have to do what I did. But they either join the military or, sweep the streets or do something for this country or the community. Some kind of national service. Give back. The problem is they don't want to give back. They want everything for free. Education for free. Healthcare for free. They even want a free allowance that what Yankees willing to give them $1,000, whatever. My mother never gave me a free allowance. I had to cut the grass and do something for it. Well, the new role model for the Democratic Party is Al Sharpton. I mean, really now. I mean, are we supposed to look up to him? I mean, really, terrible. It's terrible. Do you know that there is even a war on philanthropy? Philanthropy. Remember the man who paid off $34 million of student loans for Morehouse College? Remember him? Right? Do you know that he was criticized for having made his money in private equity? So instead of patting him on the back and shaking his hand and saying thank you, they criticized him because he was one of the billionaires. Why? Why did they criticize him? Because the leftists believe that such a gift, would make people believe that billionaires are taking care of our problems instead of the government, which they think should solve all our problems. This is a problem. This really is a problem. How many people got grandchildren to go to college? Okay, you've got service. For those Christians there, that means translate that for them, okay? You know what that means, right? Trouble. You got trouble in River City, you're right. You pay thousands of dollars for these kids to go to school, and the percentage of liberal to conservative professors is maybe 30 to 1, 30 liberals to every conservative. That's the education they're getting today. I'm not going to talk about anti-Semitism. I'm going to leave that to my boss over here, okay? I'm just his warm-up. You remember the Catskills they used to bring on a warm-up before the real guy came? He's the real guy. I just warming up the audience to you. Just a little more time and I will be done. So the central question today, not today, but during the McCarthy era, who's alive during the McCarthy era, right? Good. The central question that time was, were you ever a communist? Right? You know what the central question today is? Were you ever a Republican? That's it. You will be shunned. Let me tell you, you think you're sure, you should see me. I'm the only one, 1,500. What they think of me and put me on the internet. But I don't care. I really don't care. Okay, I'm just going to end on a positive note and a fun note by sharing a story, an Army story with you from Desert Storm. This is a true story. This is an interfaith story between Jews and Catholics. Actually, yeah, really Jews and Catholics. It was during Hanukkah, and I was trying to order my soldiers some dreidels to play with. So I ordered them, and the Catholic chaplain wanted to order his soldiers some rosaries. Rosary beads. Not rotary beads. Rosary beads. I know what they are. But the Army screwed the whole thing up. They sent the dreidels to the Christians, and they sent the rosary beads to me. So the father calls me up and he said, well, what am I supposed to do with all these dreidels? And I got money inside. I said, you think you got money inside? He says, it's not. They're chocolate. They're chocolate coins. Don't put them in the vending machines, please. You get nothing out of them. So I say to him, well, what do I do with your rosary beads? He says, very simple. He says, you got a lot of commandments, don't you? I said, yeah, we do. We got 613. I said, but that's going to take me a long, long time to do 613 commandments in just 18 days of Hanukkah. And 2/3 of those commandments can't even be observed today because they were around when the temple was in existence. So I said, can't we cut it just down to 18? So he says, well, why 18? I said, well, that's the Shemona Esrei. You know, when you pray the 18 benedictions? I said, we'll do that. So we had a lot of fun with that, but it just showed how much we cooperated. My first assignment in Fort Stewart, anybody know where Fort Stewart is? It's in Hinesville, Georgia. It's about 40 miles west of Savannah. My first assignment as a rabbi was to run a Christian church. I did it for 3 months. Yeah, I didn't have to pray. I had to hire the minister from the local community, and I had to administrate it. I had to run it, make sure the grass was cut, and I had to also support what is called the PWOC. By Christians, tell me, what does PWOC mean? Nobody? No veterans? Protestant women of the church. Yes, they love their rabbi. That was me. So how do you love your rabbi? You feed your rabbi. Green bean casserole, macaroni and cheese. I had different casserole every night. I gained weight. I couldn't pass the physical training test in the Army after 4 weeks. They put me on the heavy list. That's the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Anyway, what I'm saying is I'm done. I wish you all the best. I wish the president the best. I wish you all good health. And I'm going to tell you, I just need one thing from you. Okay? I'm going to ask you one question. I am going to work my hardest for the President of the United States. I need to hear the loudest I will from you. I